Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. Our colleague, Assemblymember Berman, Senator Hill, and I introduced AB 1509 in response to a fire caused by a lithium-ion battery at the Shoreway facility in San Mateo County, which caused $8.5 million in damages that shut down the facility for 90 days and took over a year to restore.
Make a motion to move the bill.
With over 500,000 lithium-ion batteries sold last year and the number of batteries on the market expected to double in the next 7 years, the quantity of lithium-ion batteries found in the waste stream will only increase, and the risk of future fires along with it. AB 1509 would create a recycling program for both loose lithium-ion batteries and those embedded in products to prevent them from being improperly disposed of in the waste stream. This bill adopts a producer responsibility model that asks battery and product makers to participate in the end-of-life management of their products. This model acknowledges that these products, despite all of their important applications and uses, have a significant end-of-life consequence which the manufacturer must help mitigate. In this particular case, the end-of-life consequence for lithium-ion batteries is fires at our publicly financed solid waste and recycling infrastructure. As we learned in San Mateo County, the status quo puts those facilities and the workers who staff them at real risk. Please join my colleagues from the Peninsula and I to address this issue and avoid any more fires in our county or anywhere else in our state. And as you can see from the list of support for this bill, it truly is a statewide concern. I ask for your support of AB 1509, and now I'll turn to my witnesses for additional testimony and to answer any technical questions you have.
4 minutes. You can divide it up as you like.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and committee members. My name is Joe LaMariana. I am the Executive Director of Rethink Waste, which is a solid waste joint powers authority on the San Francisco Peninsula. We have 12 member agencies between East Palo Alto and Burlingame, and we also include the County of San Mateo and a sanitary district. We have firsthand experience at dealing with the catastrophic effects of lithium-ion batteries. I've got several examples here of the growing concern here. This is the before, this is the after. When these materials are not handled responsibly, they can go into the highly mechanized equipment that we use to sort and process materials. At that time, it's very common for that to go in between the mechanized equipment and the safety coatings are breached and fire comes out. So we had an $8.5 million fire on September 7th of 2016. The plant was closed for almost 4 months. It took about a year to get back on track. During that time, about 50 workers were furloughed during the holidays, which was very unfortunate. I am very happy to say no one was injured. They followed the evacuation procedures to a T. So once they realized the fire got away from them, they got out of the plant, which was amazing. But more to the point, not only is there a worker safety issue involved, but the facility itself is at risk, at serious risk. So for us, our insurance provider worked with us right to the end. They paid everything they were obligated to do, and then they fired us. They fired us. They walked away. They said, we're not getting in this category of coverage anymore. So we now have 7 insurance companies providing coverage where we had 1 before. Our premiums have tripled. Our coverage will be very challenging if this were to happen again, let me tell you. So I definitely want to assure you that we've taken many internal steps within the facility to implement fire suppression equipment, higher level of training, et cetera, so we're more prepared if and when this happens in the future. But the key point is with the proliferation of lithium-ion batteries in our modern society, we are seeing a very steep increase in the amount of these materials that we get in our facilities and putting our workers at risk and the facility at risk. So we just did a count, and it's literally doubled from a year ago. We're currently getting 11 batteries an hour. Every one of these represents a combustible opportunity. And being on our side of the fence, it's time for action. We've got to do something about it. So we not only...
You're at 3 minutes.
Yes.
Perhaps we should have time for the other witness.
Yes. So thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. Jason Schmelter here on behalf of the
California Product Stewardship Council. Make a couple of observations. Joe already gave you a real-life example of how this is a serious problem. I'm going to focus on what's in the bill, okay? AB 1509 essentially establishes a lithium-ion recycling program inside of CalRecycle. It treats loose batteries and batteries that are embedded inside of a product a little bit differently. For batteries inside of a product, it creates multiple pathways to compliance. For loose batteries, it does an extended producer responsibility problem. Both of these kind of fall under the guise of producer responsibility, and I want to very quickly make the case for why manufacturers should be responsible for this particular outcome. If you remember, we've been here before. EPR essentially focuses on products that at the end of life have a significant end-of-life impact. It could fall in a bunch of different categories. Environmental, like mercury thermostats; public health, like drugs and sharps; occupational safety and health, like sharps; and local government costs, like mattresses and carpet, things like that. Lithium-ion batteries, frankly, check a bunch of the different boxes here. It's an occupational safety and health hazard. Local government cost is significant, and the environmental damage is pretty incredible when these facilities burn and emit all of that stuff. We feel pretty strongly about this bill. We're in strong support, and I do want to mention the opposition letters very quickly, not for what they say, although I'm happy to respond to anything that they do say, but there's three things very, very specifically that they do not say. The letters do not say that the batteries are not dangerous. They do not say that their products are not starting these fires, and they do not say that they shouldn't be held accountable for the outcome of those fires. So we would say, please vote yes on AB 1509. Happy to answer any questions that you have.
All right. Others in support?
Good afternoon, Nick Lapis of California Against Waste. We're actually co-sponsoring the bill with the previous two speakers and urge your aye vote. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Sharon Green. I'm with Sanitation Districts of Los Angeles County. We also have facilities similar to Rethink Waste, and we strongly support this bill. Thank you.
Melissa Romero on behalf of the California League of Conservation Voters in support.
Genevieve Abaddon on behalf of the local environmental health administrators in support.
Priscilla Quiros here on behalf of Stop Waste, Western Placer Waste Management Authority, and Solid Waste Association of North America in support.
Lauren Cullum on behalf of Sierra Club California in support.
John Kennedy with the Rural Counties. We have a support and concept position. We appreciate the concerns raised in the committee analysis with respect to how the program would operate at the end of the day. We look forward to working with the authors on those program mechanics and to make sure that any deposit-based system works for consumers, where it's easy for consumers to get their money back, as easy as it is to pay into the program in the first place. So thank you.
Thank you. All right. Would the opposition like to come forward and state their concerns?
Mr. Chair and members, Scott Governor on behalf of PRBA, the Rechargeable Battery Association. Our letter was certainly late, so it's not our intent to get into a tremendous amount of detail today. We are opposed to the bill. We look forward to the opportunity to work with the authors plural, to try and address some of the concerns about the mechanics of the bill and other things. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Others in opposition?
Position. Emily Pappas for HP Inc. We've been a steward in battery take back for before EPR was a thing, and we look forward to working with the author and his staff as we have been since day one. Thank you.
All right. Questions from the committee? Seeing none. Wait, Mr. Dolly.
First of all, I want to commend you for this. I know that this is a problem and you're trying to address an issue. I did a battery, ion lithium battery last year, and so I'm working along the same lines. I just can you give me an idea of how it's going to be implemented? I mean, that, for me, so when we have even the CRV return and the one size doesn't really fit all in some of the areas, especially the very rural areas of California. So can you kind of just give me an idea of what your thoughts are on how it would look for the program to actually be implemented?
Thank you, Assemblyman. And my goal here is not to be overly prescriptive, but to provide a menu of options to sort of comply with this thing. This is a complicated area program administration, but I would like to bring Jason if he can just give you a sense of the kinds of things that we're talking about in terms of implementing a program.
Absolutely. I'm going to try to see you and talk into the mic at the same time. EPR programs and the battery recycling program would ultimately be part of a plan that's approved by CalRecycle. And in those plans, they essentially go back and show how they're going to develop appropriate coverage for the state. So it's something that the companies in their stewardship programs would plan for. Just like they do on the existing programs. We have had some issues with these programs in the past, but the good news there is we're learning, and we're learning how to work around some of these problems when we're developing the bills, and that's what our intent is here.
All right, any other questions? So, Mr. Mullen, before you close, so we have a list of outstanding issues on page 6 and 7 of the analysis. I won't ask you to read through them all now, but I assume you and your staff have looked at them.
I have a series of yeses noted on the analysis, which I think is a good sign. There are a number of issues raised that we think we're confident that we can properly address. Okay. And really, this is motivated, Mr. Chair, by a recognition that the status quo is unacceptable, that safety is at risk. And this is about not only a district concern, but a statewide concern and a clear omission in the way we deal with these things that's resulting in fires, and it's going to be an increasing problem. So, but in terms of some of the details identified in the analysis, I'm confident we can address virtually all of those concerns, issues raised going forward.
Very good. As with a lot of bills, we don't expect them to be perfect in the first committee. Issues are raised and they take time to work out. So I think, though, the biggest problem, even when you have one, is going to be getting the public to comply. Because to not have these fires, you're going to need much better compliance than we have with other programs. And, maybe we should be having some sort of, and again, I'm just talking here, but it's possible that we're going to need to have advertising, perhaps looking at all the battery programs together since they all have their own set of issues. But this is one that's certainly key because we don't want more fires and risking of public health. All right. Let's see. We have a motion from Mr. Let's see. From Bauer-Cahan, second by Kalra. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
This is item number 11, AB 1509, Mullen. The motion is due pass and re-refer to the Committee on Natural Resources. Quirk?
Aye.
Quirk, aye. Melendez? Kalra? Kalra, aye. Bauer-Cahan? Daly? Daly not voting. Cristina Garcia? Holden?
Aye.
Holden, aye. Mathis? Mathis not voting. Muratsuchi? Muratsuchi, aye.
So it has four we need one more.
Thank you, sir.
All right. All right.